Hey everyone, just want to show you a nice fine motor warm-up activity using putty. So it can kind of work with Play-Doh as well. Um, if you're able to make slime or putty at home, I know there's a lot of recipes online of simple, easy to make putties, um, but it's a really good way to practice just the isolated movements and muscles of each finger, right? Normally our hand works as a unit. Whenever we're grabbing things, our hand is working as a unit. Even if we have to grab something small, right? We're usually using our dominating fingers, right? The fingers that were actually created for movement and holding and being used, right? So our supporting fingers, like our pinky and ring, they're not really used much. So I like to make sure to encourage isolated movement and strength and coordination out of those fingers as well. So I want to show you just a nice focused use of the putty that you can use as a warm-up activity in your activities or with your children, with students. That's really effective, right? So what we're going to do is first just squeeze our putty, get it warmed up a little bit. Okay, remember you can always use a glove if the texture of the putty is something that is aversive or not enjoyable, right? And what we're going to do is just soften up the putty, get a little back and forth, having those hands work together, some grosser grasping of the hands, right? That whole arm, whole hand grasp pattern. Okay, then what we're gonna do is bring our putty together in the middle. We're gonna use just our pointer finger and thumb, overlap our fingers a little bit, and we're gonna pull. And I say try to keep it consistent, meaning so it doesn't look like a little bit of putty is just being pulled off, but try to pull it so that it's staying consistent. Okay, so we pull with our pointer fingers and our thumbs, and we wrap it all back up, squeeze it back together nice and quick. Okay, then we go to our middle fingers and thumbs, overlap them a little bit, just like this, and pull. Okay, see how long we can pull it, keeping it consistent. Then we wrap it back up together, wrap it back up, and now we move on to our ring finger and thumb and pull. Try to keep it nice and consistent, right? That consistency. Whoa. Once it starts to melt a little bit, bring it back together. And we go to our pinky and thumb, right? You might start to feel that it feels a little weird, it feels a little awkward. And that's because we don't usually use these fingers isolated on their own. Okay, and we could put it back together. Whew. Right, so that was a nice one for our first part of our activity. Okay, next, we bring our putty back together, hold it in one hand. This is a nice way to make both hands work together by giving one hand a role or of holding the putty, a role or responsibility of holding the putty. With the other hand, just our pointer and thumb, we're twisting forward. Okay, so we can do 1, 2, 3, then switch to our middle and thumb. 1, 2, 3. Our ring and thumb. 1, 2, 3. Our pinky and thumb. 1, 2, 3. Now in the reverse direction. 1, 2, 3. Our ring. 1, 2, 3. Our middle. 1, 2, 3. Our pointer. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Squeeze it back together. And we're going to do the same thing for the other side. So I usually pause throughout these just to ask how it felt on the different fingers. Did it feel awkward, a little bit strange, a little bit tricky? So, we can feel the challenges that our fingers might have coordinating those movements, and it might feel a little awkward. It might feel a little bit weird. But an activity like this is a good way to make sure those fingers get an opportunity, get a chance to practice those kind of movements, practice those kind of skills. Okay, so with the other hand, same thing. Our pointer, we go 1, 2, 3, pointer and thumb. Then middle and thumb, 1, 2, 3. Our ring and thumb, 1, 2, 3, our pinky and thumb. 1, 2, 3, and backwards. 1, 2, 3, our ring and thumb. 2, 3, our middle and thumb. 1, 2, 3, our pointer and thumb. 1, 2, and 3. Whew. All right. So give our hands a little break. Come back to our squeezing, going back and forth. Right? This is a nice way to help promote and develop just the different fine motor skills and the way our hands work. You know, putty is such a great thing. You can always add different textures to the putty, so it's a little bit more feedback into the hands, whether it's beads or beans or small toys, right? So you might feel it while you're squeezing it or while you're trying to twist it. Okay, next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna roll our putty back and forth just like this into a snake. Okay, into a snake or a worm, right? Can challenge you to try to roll it in your hand. Maybe you're using your thumb to roll it just in one hand, or maybe you're doing it without your thumb. Okay, and try it in the other hand, rolling it just in that one hand. Without your thumb, oops, or with your thumb, or without your thumb. Okay, oops. Then we can bring it to the table, sorry. Then we can bring it to the table. Okay, see if you can roll it with both of your hands. Roll it, both of your hands. Okay, then what we're gonna do is take just our pointer fingers and thumb. We're gonna start in the middle and we squeeze with our pointer fingers and thumbs as hard as we can. Then we move on to our middle finger and thumb. Squeeze with the middle finger and thumb. The ring finger and thumb. Squeeze with the ring and the thumb. Then our pinky and thumb. Squeeze with the pinky and thumb. Then we go in the reverse. Pinky and thumb. Ring and thumb. Middle and thumb. And our pointer and thumb. Kind of create a little design here. Maybe it looks like wings or a wall. Okay. If we disconnect it from the table, and just loosen it up a little bit. Oops. See if we can disconnect it from the table and turn it over and lay it down. Okay. See if we can roll it just using our fingers. Maybe of one hand, maybe another hand. Okay. And it might look like a flower, or in this case, an ice cream cone. Okay. We can see if we can turn it in one hand without dropping it. Turn it one way. Turn it another way. Okay, with our other hand, turning it one way, twisting it, twirling it the other way. Okay, then we take it, crumple it up, and we're gonna roll it into a ball. So we can roll it with one hand on the table, or with two hands, or in our hands, or see if you can roll it in just one hand. Maybe you're using all your fingers, maybe you're spinning it, right? Just like a ball would spin. Or the other way. Okay, same thing in the other hand. Can roll it in your hand. Roll it in your hand. Or spinning it. Oh, it's harder in this hand. Spin, 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 spin. And the other way. Spin. Whoa. All right, put it on our table, and now we flatten it. We can use our palm and flatten it, or we can push with our hand or our fingers. You can use both hands. Maybe we're standing up and push it down to flatten it. Flatten it, flatten it, flatten it. Once we get it flat, we take our hand, open our fingers wide, and we bring them all together so there's no space, little or no space. And put that right in the middle of that putty, all the way deep in there. And then ready now, we push our fingers open. See if you can open your fingers. Spread them out all the way, spread them out, spread them out, spread them out until you're all the way open. Once you open your fingers all the way, what did you make? You can use your fingers to push, to flatten out our putty. See if you could give each finger a chance to push. Maybe you're using the whole hand together. See if you can stay just on one hand. And now, see what it looks like. So this looks like a tree. It might look a little upside down to you, but it looks like a tree. Okay, see if you can get your fingers now on the outside of that putty and squeeze them all together. See if you can use your fingers to squeeze that putty back in. Squeeze it all back in until we're able to bring it into the middle and see if we can turn it into like a hat, maybe like a witch hat. So we squeeze it, maybe give it a little twist until we turn it into our little witch hat here. Okay, what do you think? Oh, be careful with the putty in your hair, actually, it could melt. All right, so then we do it one more time with the other hand. So we are turning it into a ball, either in our hands, on the table, two hands. You can try within your hand, turn it into a ball, right? See if you can give it a spin. Or the other way. Okay, on the table, we flatten it. Might use our palm or our fingers. Flatten it, flatten it, flatten it. And then with the other hand, same thing, fingers wide. Bring them together tight so there's no space, and right in the middle of that putty, and push open. All the way open, take your time. Ooh, push, 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 push. Ooh. Okay, then use our fingers, see if you can get every finger to work pushing to smooth out that putty. Okay, you can use all the fingers together. Right, see what you make. So this one kind of looks like, I don't know. This one kind of looks like some kind of sea star, maybe some kind of, I don't know, some kind of flying comet. It looks like, I don't know. This one looks kind of interesting. All right, and we put our fingers on the outside, squeeze that putty together. See if we can keep our fingers on the table and keep squeezing our fingers together, squeezing our hand together until we bring it all together to form a hat. Oops. So until we have a little point, right, a little point, just like our tree, a little tree point. Maybe we give it a little twist and make our hat. You can take it off the table. And we made a little hat, right? It's like our selection hat from Harry Potter. Okay. With our hat, we can always practice spinning in our fingers. Whoops. Right? Seeing if you can spin it like a little ice cream. Maybe give your different fingers a chance to spin back and forth. Starts to get a little hard. Whoop. The pinky. Ooh. Okay. And we didn't get a chance to spin it in our other hand, but same thing. If we had that selection hat, it looks like this. Right? Same thing. We can spin it in our other hand, in our thumb and pointer, thumb and middle, our thumb and ring, and our thumb and pinky. So just really isolating those fingers, giving each finger a chance to practice some control and strength type of activities, either by pushing or pulling, twisting, using all the fingers together or apart. Okay, just getting both of those hands working together in different ways to twist or putting the putty back and forth, pulling it apart. Okay, so just nice little warm-up activity that really targets each finger. You can always add small items in here like beads and small toys, just so that you can have a little bit of texture in the hand, or you can always practice those grasp patterns by pulling them out, um, maybe rolling it into a snake, and practice cutting with scissors. Maybe you're doing 5 or 10 cuts, putting a toy in each spot there, or rolling each one of those into a snake, and maybe trying to make some kind of pattern, some kind of design, okay? Maybe making a tic-tac-toe board, or making any other kind of game using this, right? Maybe turning it into a snake with a mouth and making it have to crawl across the table and eat the beads one at a time. Okay, so a lot of different things you could do with the putty, making different things. Putty is a really nice thing to use, and you can make your own at home, right? Different kinds of slime, different kind of textures. So just wanted to show a nice fine motor warm-up activity that has been pretty effective, and just one that could be effective in building up the strength, the coordination, the control of our fingers, our hands, and both of those hands working together. All right, so try it out. Hope you enjoy, and let me know what you think. Hope it's helpful. Thank you everyone so much for tuning in. Bye-bye.